I thought, oh, there's going to be a dynamic between him and Diana, who's also an AI, where he's going to have to learn how to work with Diana and accept her help and trust in order to escape the lunar station and go back to Earth. That is not what happens. That's not what happens. He just immediately accepts Diana's help.
He does.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, that's true. He does take to it very quickly. Yeah,
Instantly, they're buddy-buddy. There was space for a real character arc.
Yes, I got you.
Something that was real, but no, they're just instant pals. Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of everyone's favorite podcast, the Critical Arcade Podcast. I'm your co-host, Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Nick. You well?
Yes, I'm well, thank you. Dave, have you been counting how many years Capcom has been on this absolute peak generational run?
Now you mention it, Nick, that's the only thing I've been counting. No, I haven't. I know they've been going a long time, but yes, they are. I was thinking the same thing playing this game. When we were doing the research and Capcom, of course, came up again, I thought, God, Capcom were just knocking out some bangers all the time. Like,
and they've been just kind of hammering out bangers since, I think, 2017.
They must have knocked out some crap ones. Surely Capcom has stuck in there a little, I don't know.
I wouldn't say crap ones. They've got Exoprimal, which was the mech suits fighting dinosaurs.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Yes, that's true. I remember that.
It's fine, I guess. That must just be training newbies before they work on Resident Evil or something.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a full game IP and see how you do, and then assess you from there after we release it. I like that idea of it. But it's funny.
I'm asking because somehow Capcom released another one.
Right? Again, doing this of doing the podcast, I've done this section so many times now, it almost feels like I'm just repeating. Today's game is the newly anticipated and newly released Pragmata, and again, I get to say published and developed by Capcom, which you may know from Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, Mega Man, Devil May Cry, Dead Rising, Ace Attorney, Dragon's Dogma.
It's insane. And before we get further into this, we just want to give a big thank you to Capcom for providing the review code for this game early so we could create this review before the game releases. Thank you, Capcom.
Yeah, much appreciated.
But also, just thank you for making another good game.
It does make our lives a little easier. So because you enjoy it, words come off the page a lot easier than. Granted, being a bit negative is also kind of fun. But this, luckily for people, I think we both enjoyed this game. This game's actually not too bad, right?
Correct. I think it's slightly a step above not too bad. I would call this.
Agreed. I'm probably being.
Would call this good. A lot of people kind of had this game. Doubted this game because it was I wouldn't call it development hell, but it was stuck in a bit of development in the development period for a long time. We got the reveal trailer for this alongside the PlayStation 5 reveal trailer.
No ways. Was it really that long ago?
Yes.
Holy crap.
This game was announced the same state of play that they announced Resident Evil 8.
Oh, really? Which I kind of get it. This game plus Resident Evil 8 and then like the PlayStation 5 reveal is the perfect little layup,
it is.
Right?
But we've had the PlayStation 5 for 6 years, and we've had Resident Evil 8 for, I don't know, 4 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
Something like that.
And only now we're getting Pragmata.
Well, it was interesting because this game actually at one point was delayed indefinitely. It actually... I like to, for all intents and purposes, it was dead. It was going no further.
Oh, yeah.
Until they were kind of like, well, this game's like mainly done. and it's not too bad.
Do you think that was the case? Or do you think they were stuck? They were stuck with the game design and they didn't know what to do until someone said, you know what, I'm going to take this game out back. I'm going to do some stuff with it and we're all going to be okay.
Yeah, you could be right, because some of it, like, you look at this game, it kind of looks like a tech demo, which is very pretty, and like I say that in a good way. You could see this game just originally being a tech demo for the PlayStation, and then going, actually, let's use it.
I've actually got that down in my notes for visuals. I strongly believe that this was made to look good, and then only after they made something that looked good and interesting did they think, all right, now, how do we turn this into a game?
Yes, I think you're right. I've actually, again, when we hit the visuals, I've got kind of like the same type of notes in regards to some of the things they do.
I mean, which is fine. Okay, anyway, let's jump into this.
Okay, the narrative, right? So, without spoiling anything, because I'm sure everybody's got this on their wish list and they want to play it themselves. The narrative is that you and your buddies are sent to a lunar space station. Again, I didn't like this game at the beginning because everyone dies. You get there, you talk to your mates. You're like, what are we doing here? Where is everyone? And then
James and Nicholas and we're all such good pals.
That's right. And you're like, okay, this is a cool little intro. And then just everyone, every single one of them dies. Like they get granted, it's
gone.
And you're like, I'm not entirely sure why we were here. Did I miss that part? I know we arrived. Yeah. Are we engineers? Are we maintenance men? I don't know why we came to.
From how I understand it, the space station called, much like how the USG Shimura sent out an SOS signal. Yeah. The moon station here did the same. They needed help, and then these guys came a knocking, and then it was just silent. Everyone's gone.
So everyone goes. You're on a lunar station. It's empty of people. No people on this station. Very mysterious. What's going on? But again, kind of very Dead Spacey. It's going to be hard not to compare the two. And then you bump into little Diana, little robot blonde-haired girl who seems to be a robot or an android or herself who can hack all the new robots that have been made by Lunar Filament or whatever the name was. They've all been printed.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? So they've somehow turned moon dust into 3D printed filament, and then can now all of a sudden print anything. You want to printed chocolate? There you go. Done. A printed taxi car? Printed.
I do kind of like that. I kind of liked that when you first come into it, and it's just like a big 3D printer, like making a structure in the distance, and it's kind of like. It's not beyond like realism, right?
You're right. It isn't super sci-fi.
No,
right?
It isn't. Which is kind of.
I wouldn't say this is Stellar Blade sci-fi.
No, it isn't. So just like again, it's fairly kind of cliched. You're now on a station. You're on your own. You have a partner, and now you must find out the big questions. Why is everyone gone? Why is the automated kind of AI thing called IDUS kind of trying to hinder your progression and not let Earth know what's going on up here, and you've got to kind of get a message out to Earth to kind of tell people
something's up
on the moon, right?
Exactly. And you as Hugh need to escape with Diana's help.
That's right.
Easier said than done.
Do you think it's just a coincidence that this game got released the same time that we just did that lunar mission? You know, the Americans just went around the moon. Is that just like really good marketing, or is it just a coincidence? Like
wasn't it the Canadians that went up?
Was it Canadians? Oh,
I can't remember.
Let's say
I
astronauts.
can't remember.
Astronauts. I thought that's a really cool like window to put it up there.
It is. I agree. No, I think it was purely coincidental, much like how Nintendo released Animal Crossing at the start of the lockdown.
The
super coincidental, but that worked very well in their favor.
And it's got a lot of the classic sci-fi tropes, you know, the HAL 9000 of the whole thing. You've watched The Space Odyssey, right? I can't do that, Dave, or whatever the statement is. The story is kind of tried and tested, right? We all like it. We all like the pitting our humanness against AI subjects, and
exactly.
Little Diana herself
is agreed. It's the classic man versus machine.
And what was the iRobot and that one with
all of that. Yes.
Where the robots themselves slowly start to develop like humanity, and Diana has the mental capacity of a young girl, but the computing power of
of a big
Steam.
super AI.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's a bit contradictory, but it works. It works.
But it's
in the
fun.
game.
It's got a fun dynamic. I like the dynamic between Diana and Hugh. Sorry, the main guy's called Hugh, because it's got that. It's what's the uncomfortable around kids stoic man and the curious and lively.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. He
No ways. I think Hugh is actually very. He comes across as a stoic man, but the moment he needs to be good with kids, he just is.
Yeah, with the high fives and the
exactly.
And the
It's almost like this was written by someone who knows how to deal with kids, and they can't not know how to deal with kids. But I'm gonna have to disagree with you on something.
Go on, hit me with it.
The dynamic between Hugh and Diana.
Yeah, you don't like it.
It's not that I don't like it. I just think that this is Pragmata's biggest flaw. I think this is its one big weak spot. If we take a look at previous action-adventure games, there's one genre that's not official, but a lot of people have kind of called it out, and that's the sad dad video game.
That's a sad description of it. We're not
It
talking
is,
like Kratos.
it is. But the moment you think about it, sad dad video games is a genre. The Last of Us.
Yeah, sad
right?
dad. Yeah.
The new God of War games.
Yeah, he's sad in the first. In the first
yes,
one, yeah,
and he's a dad.
Yeah,
Death Stranding, especially Death Stranding 2.
Oh, it's true. Oh no, I got you with the.
Okay, and here's another one: Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm serious. Sad dad video games is a thing, and this could have been up there, but it isn't. Right at the start, the moment you encounter your first robot, Hugh mentions something. The main character mentions that he distrusts AI.
Yes, that's very true.
Be like me. I don't like AI.
Yes,
or
he's
whatever.
Disgruntled by the whole thing.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
Right.
So I thought, there's going to be a dynamic between him and Diana, who's also an AI, where he's going to have to learn how to work with Diana and accept her help and trust in order to escape the lunar station and go back to Earth. That is not what happens. That's not what happens. He just immediately accepts Diana's help.
He does.
Hello.
Yeah, that's true. He does take to it very quickly. Yeah, he
instantly, they're buddy.
And the instant, you're a robot, that's also an AI, but you look like a little girl. It's like,
but you look like a little girl. You talk like one too. So that's fine then.
I'll give you that is an instant relationship starts up. That's true. He's not even reluctant. He's just like, what are you?
No.
What can you do? Okay,
exactly.
Climb on
there
my
was
back.
space for a real character arc.
Yes,
something
I got you.
that was real, but no, they're just instant pals.
And it's also weird. Did you notice that on the climbing on his back, there's actually footrests? So his back apparatus was designed for someone standing on his back.
I know, it's weird. I keep thinking it's for like an oxygen tank or something.
Yes, like some sort of necessity that his back would require.
Anyway, that's my biggest issue. That's the one, in my opinion, my one biggest gripe with Pragmata. It's the character arc never meaningfully is an arc.
Yeah, I got it. I give you that the relationship side of things doesn't really flesh out.
Feels undercooked.
Now we can't give all the spoilers because the story itself isn't too bad. It slowly develops the mystery of the people, the reason the AI does it, the mysterious people you potentially come upon. It's got that old 80s, 90s sci-fi type film about it. I enjoy that type of thing because I'm a big fan of the old Total Recall type movies and Space Odysseys. And it does flesh out
like one man versus big sci-fi machines.
Yes, just like one man or one woman in Alien. Like I said, it's fairly common aspect where it's the story's fairly common. We all watched a movie in some degree where that's even just the one that just came out, Hail Mary, is kind of the same premise.
Oh yes,
right?
of course,
right?
of course, yeah. Or The Martian, the previous one.
Yeah,
people love that.
Yeah, and it's not too bad. You're right. The relationships aren't particularly fleshed out or real, just like a lot of the other ones, the sad dad type games. It is missing that bit, but all in all, as a good distraction or escapism, yeah, I thought it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah,
even with my gripe, I found the story okay.
I also just found the AI not to be that powerful. like every time you bump into him, he just closes a door and then sends a robot after you. It's like,
exactly. It's
don't
not
you
even
control
like
the
he
station?
tries that.
Yeah,
he doesn't try that hard.
He's like, oh,
hello,
damn,
Hugh.
pesky,
I will
pesky
stop
kids.
you.
Yeah.
Close the door. Sends a robot. That's it.
But yeah, granted. But this isn't a Last of Us. This isn't a
no.
Red Dead
I was fine with it. I do think though that this had the potential to be something greater.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do agree. I understand. And again, Capcom knocking out bangers, you kind of hold them up to a better standard to some degree.
Yeah.
But then the stories of Resident Evil aren't amazing. They're fun.
No, it's not that. I mean, the Resident Evil's more for lore and big ridiculous moments.
Yes, exactly.
Like a big old motorbike chase across post-apocalyptic city while being chased by zombie direwolves.
That's exactly what you need. That's exactly what everyone's looking for. That's exactly what Capcom and Resident Evil generally does.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, what do you think visually of this game then?
I think visually, like we said before, it feels like this was a tech demo that after the fact was turned into a video game. And visually, it's stunning.
Yeah, it is very pretty. It's one of those... Again, it just feels tech demo-y, which is not a bad thing. It's like a really good... what's the word? Really good... compliment. There it is. Sorry, I lost the word for a second.
Yeah.
Really good compliment to make, right? It is a very pretty game.
I do think that they did do a good job, though. There's a lot of tech demos turned video games that are bad. Take a look at Heavy Rain. That's just one big tech demo for the PlayStation 3, and it's not a good game. This, on the other hand, this has got a full game design. I'm not sure if that's why this game took so long. They tried their best to turn this stunning game into a competent video game. Well, I mean, it worked.
No, agreed. And first, I can't just let you go by and say that Heavy Rain is not a good game. That's a good bad game. It's the funniest game on the PlayStation.
What do you...
anyone out there? Oh, if anyone's out there, if you've never played Heavy Rain, play Heavy Rain, but get everything wrong. It's the most hilarious game you will play on a console. But I do get what you mean by the premise.
That sounds fun. That does sound fun. I'll do that.
It's hilarious.
Good, bad. You're right.
And yet, like I said, this game is beautiful. Even the hair. You know, Diana herself has long.
Ooh, yes, this is something I wanted to raise too. Right? Go ahead.
And that was that was done so well, which they had to build into their engine themselves in regards to the development, that it's actually the same hair that's used in a Resident Evil Requiem for Grace's hair later on. So they did so well with the hair here that they actually used it for later projects because this has such a long development time. Capcom.
They've got a tendency to use short hair on the female characters.
That's true. That's very true, yes.
Because at the start of the RE engine lifespan, they released Resident Evil 7. And in Resident Evil 7, I think that was the last time that they had a long-haired female character, which is Mia. And Mia's hair did not work.
It's got, to be honest, it's got to be so hard. To animate and do hair has to be so hard.
No, I fully agree. That can't be easy. That's like making waves.
Yes, exactly.
Making waves on the ocean. That's hard.
Bit. Yeah. But it is very pretty.
It is very pretty. I think this time, in 2017, it did not work. This time around, in 2026, granted, 9 years later, it does finally work.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you've been playing games as long as Nick and I have. You slowly see the development as it gets better and better. Because Final Fantasy games were fairly famous for their hair stuff too, with lightning and all the other things that came into play. But this is just so much better. Her hair is so shiny and moisturized and conditioned and stuff like that. I was jealous. For one, I was just sitting here thinking, damn, I wish She's literally a L'Oreal advert, like a walking tiny L'Oreal advert for any shampoo or whatever.
Could be.
Another thing I read visuals of this, which I thought was such a cool nod to today's society, right? You know, later on in this game, there's a marketplace area that's designed around Times Square, as we discussed. But did you know that they made Times Square? They intentionally made Times Square look like AI generative art, because they saw that the dislike of AI art now is kind of a dystopian future that they're putting forwards now. Ooh. So they made it look ugly because, you know, there's a collective mindset at the moment that AI generative art is ugly and wrong and down.
Yes.
So they intentionally made Times Square look like that because that's what the conscious of human being is still thinking in the future.
Is that
so they
true?
use that. Yeah, they use that as a dystopian device in the Times Square moment.
Come on, Capcom!
Isn't that weird that they actually took the time? Now, granted, I'm sure
it is.
They said, let's use it. Look like I love the idea they used that as a dystopian effect.
Yeah, there were parts so cool. in that level where there were just buildings printed, quote unquote.
Yes.
Sideways.
Yeah, and cars on the walls and
exactly, and everything. Granted, this game looks good. It's made very well, but this level's made to look ugly.
Yes, exactly.
And it does. It's like that. It's so well made, ugly.
Yeah, it's so clever. I love it. When we do these games and you see these people actually put love and art and all the other things into their designs, and you just go, wow, it just makes everything so much more fun playing the game.
It does. It really does.
Did you... Go on, sorry.
No, I just have one final point for visuals, then you can say what you wanted to say.
Yep.
I just... one thing I'd really like to applaud is that this game feels like, in very, very few cases, where either game excels at art direction or graphical fidelity, this feels like one of the few where both art direction and graphical fidelity were given equal amounts of budget and attention.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. Everything about
right. If the art direction and graphical fidelity can meet in the middle and on a very high pedestal, you end up with a game that looks creative and well made, which is this.
Yeah, agreed. Everything was always fun finding out the new robots that it sent after you. Even the big creepy mannequin ones that come after you. Like that. I hate those things.
Same.
I know they were too creepy. But I do love that they also took from some like popular sci-fi culture, so to speak. They got the iRobot type normal mannequin type robots. You've got a cool Ronin, like a Japanese samurai robot for some reason. That. And then you've got all it's hard not to compare, but was it a Horizon Zero Dawn, the animal-esque robots, be it the scorpion, the big multifaceted Hydra snake thing. It's always, and Capcom's known for this, it's always so much fun with the boss reveals and just seeing what they're going to come up with next.
Oh, yes. No, it's great. It's great. These bosses feel like events. They feel like set pieces. Once I'm done with it, I can give a sigh of relief and just look back. It's a tiny bit exaggerated, but on this big memory I had of fighting this boss fight, it feels significant.
Yeah, it's got a lot of grandstanding to it and meatiness to what you're doing. No, it does. It's very cool. And what's the little robot guy in your shelter called as well? I forgot his name.
Kevin.
There he is. He's cool too. He's got that very charming kind of like.
No, I like Kevin. I like Kevin too.
Yeah, he's pretty sweet.
Yeah, his introduction, he's animated very well.
And he's very positive. I love the positive vibes amongst the silent.
Yeah, I'd like some more sad dad. But the positivity is nice too.
Okay, anything else, or should we jump into audio?
Let's go with audio.
Go on audio, man. This is your thing. What did you think of the audio of this?
Out of the three that I usually go for in audio, soundtrack, voice acting, and sound design, the soundtrack I'd say fits the tone well. Mm-hmm. It's the usual sci-fi soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Right? If you've heard one sci-fi soundtrack, you've heard them all.
Yes, you kind of heard them all. I know what you mean.
Unfortunately, the same for this one.
Like someone once Someone once described it as futuristic elevator music. It's just that
it could be that.
It is
sure,
just like
yeah.
the future background noise that plays in every space station and everything where it's just beeps and noise and hydraulics. So, sorry, I interrupted. Go for it.
No. Besides the soundtrack, then again, it really isn't that bad. You'd hear a bad soundtrack.
Yes,
the voice acting is also quite all right, quite good. Sometimes I think Hugh can be too emotive. I do think Diana is the standout performance. She
definitely
really sells being a 6-year-old girl.
And like I said, this is one of those really hard things about getting and we're always very appreciative of getting games early and stuff like that. But when we do like the VA work, we have to kind of listen and go, do we know that voice? Because there's no information out there. We cannot get. But I do know that most people, the people in the know, the people I chatted to, Capcom are very known for hiring top end voice actors, right? They get the cream of the crop. They pay good money fundamentally.
Yeah.
So people think that Hugh is done by Kanji Tang, who was Ichiban from Like a Dragon and Gojo from JJK. Now this is only hypothetically, or not, what's the word? It might be him, and I was listening to it earlier thinking, they could be right. And of course, they think, and I say this again, they think that Diana could be Laura Bailey because she's so good at...
Do you think so?
Kiddies. So many... Okay, I know Laura Bailey in a good few games, and of course she's very famous and very good at what she does. I just don't know if people are like, well, young girl, then that's got to be Laura Bailey. But Capcom do pay good... They do get the good voice, so it really could be. But it's...
Laura Bailey.
Right?
Okay.
Which is... It makes sense, but at the moment we can't ascertain exactly who it is. I look forward to finding out.
Same. We're gonna have to complete the game and watch the credits.
Yes, that's true. That's the true way of doing it.
What I was getting at, out of the three, the soundtrack is good. The voice acting is also good, especially Diana. The real star of the audio is the sound design.
There it is. Yeah, I figured that was coming.
Right?
How so?
The sound design in every facet of this game, right? When you're in combat, the sounds, it's chaotic in the best way, cacophonous, metal sparks, like distortion everywhere, but it sounds like that's how it is supposed to sound.
Yeah, no.
If you take a look at everything that's going on, the sounds completely make sense. Metal crashing on metal, elevators riding up and down, just lasers. That's it, lasers.
Just lasers.
Lasering.
That's a point in itself.
Right, it really sells the idea of fighting through a hostile machine environment.
Yeah, that's again. I wrote this down as well as the sound design. We've said this so many times for like Dead Space games and stuff. It's the quietness. It's the quiet hallways when you're going from anywhere. There's later on you get to go to an area with no atmosphere, so basically you're in space, and then of course you get the haunting, hollow noises as you clank your feet against the containers or the building that you're walking on, and even the enemies that attack you are muted because in space it doesn't generate sound and all the other things that suppose. It is very good. It's very good building tension. I thought it also just the loneliness of the station, that the fact that there was no one else there, the sounds and stuff were just built on like an echo aspect that just really nailed the whole prospect that it's, why is no one here? Why is there only gritty, nasty robots and no actual life on this station anymore?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, like the soundtrack, again, it's one of those weird things. I couldn't even tell you if I heard a soundtrack. Now, granted, I'm too busy shooting robots and taking... I really don't know, but I do know what you mean in regards to the gunfire, the weight of every situation.
Yes, the sound design, those sound effects, they go hard. Or if you don't notice a soundtrack, that's fine. If you do notice it, though, it's either really good or really bad.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know the soundtrack of Elden Ring and stuff like that because that goes so hard and
Exactly.
it's so amazing. And other games,
Yes.
it just sometimes just falls onto deaf ears a little bit. Anything else
Okay.
audio-wise?
No, we can go to what I'd argue is the best part of the game.
Agreed. Gameplay.
Hell yeah.
You know.
Hell yeah. Gameplay.
Which is great because could you imagine this game if it was really boring and crap game? Like, oh my
If
god.
it was just a shitty game.
If it was just like a walking simulator or something like that, or
But I mean, this is the point I wanted to raise earlier. This was a tech demo, and I'm pulling that out of my arse because I'm like 90% sure that this was a tech demo that they turned into a game. That's only happened, to my knowledge, once before, and that is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, was that a tech demo? Yeah, that was.
I wouldn't know.
definitely a tech
I don't know
demo,
if it was a tech demo, but they definitely made the look of the game first.
Yeah, because
Tribes, people, and robot dinosaurs. They come up with that idea first, and then they made everything else.
Because
then
also
they made
kind
the
of did the
story,
same
then they
thing
made
with-
the gameplay.
Yeah, they did the same with the VR version of that game as well, right? They did a really big visual overhaul for the VR version of Horizon, whatever.
Okay.
Can you remember that? It was really very pretty. They made an entire it was. I think you could play it as a game, but for the VR headsets, it was really high def and really
What was it? Call of the Mountain?
I can't, something like that. I can't. I'm desperately trying to pull the name out of my head.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
I can understand that narrative in regards to the studio.
in this case, they made Pragmata look good, and then they designed a game around it. And thankfully, they made a good game.
Yeah, that's all what Capcom does at the moment. Just knocks it out. This game,
They just make good games.
it's got a unique premise in the combat in this game, right? A premise I don't think I've ever done or had to deal with before. Whilst fighting intense robotic robotic battles, you've got to hack the robots at the same time. So you've got to dodge using the analog sticks and then hack using the triangle, square, 0x. So it's a combination of having to physically dodge them and hack them at the same time so they can build up a weakness or a debuff in some regards so that you can actually kill them.
To simplify it even further, the combat feels like it has puzzles inside the action.
Yeah, and it does. It does. Some of the bad guys, if you don't know how to hack, you can't kill them because you can't.
Exactly.
But it adds tension. Jeez, it adds a degree of tension because later on in the games you get stations and little radar things that stop you from being able to hack unless you jump over them every time they release a beam. So it just adds so much chaos to the combat that's already just full on the screen.
Or some robots have got these red visors that appear out of nowhere, and and you can't hack.
That's right.
Unless you shoot down these red visors first.
It's such a cool, when I first played with the gimmick, I was like, nah, it's alright. But later on, as it gets more fleshed out and gets more complicated, I actually really enjoy it. I think it's a fun way of adding something new.
That was what was most people's gripe with this game. How long can Capcom keep this simple hacking game interesting?
Yes, yeah, I can see that.
Because a lot of people thought, I'm going to get bored within the first hour.
Yes. Because they thought it was going to be more puzzles and less action.
Exactly. It's just going to be that
Yeah.
for 10 hours.
Yes,
which,
yes.
thankfully, we're only, I don't know how many hours you're in. I'd say I'm 3 hours in. Already is not the case. Is definitely not the case.
Yeah, I'm a good few hours more than yourself, and it just doesn't stop. You're right. It doesn't. Boss fights incorporate new aspects of the hacking thing. The hacking gets multi-layered and stuff like that later on in the game. It gets complex and tough and drastic and dramatic. It's very cool. They've done a very good job of fleshing out this gameplay aspect.
Yes.
And it's got everything else that Capcom games have, right?
Agreed. Yeah. Capcom
upgrade
games,
systems. For guns, you got upgrades for hacks, for skills. Diana upgrades herself.
Exactly. Not only is it just combat and puzzles, there's exploration. This feels like just a good old action adventure game.
It has its feels of Resident Evil. I know it's a completely different genre, but the mini puzzles, there's hidden walls, there's challenge rooms, there's there's little, in Resident Evil games, you always have to shoot the bobbleheads or whatever that.
The collectibles.
This has tiny little robots where you fundamentally have to do the same, so you collect all those. A lot of little tongue-in-cheek little moments in the game that just make you laugh or smirk and stuff like that in regards to gameplay. And it's got a heavy weapon, a debuff weapon, a support weapon. It's got loadouts you got to balance because there's limited amounts of ammunition to deal with. It's fleshed out, like you said, for something.
Yeah, I do. I do
blue,
absolutely agree. These all these systems that the game has all complement each other and grow into one very compelling and sometimes very innovative gameplay loop.
Yeah, agreed. It's hard to put down.
It is kind of, if you like this gameplay loop and you like what it's doing, because it is doing something new, you're going to like this game, much like any other game if you like the gameplay loop. But this does feel like something that I can't think any other game does.
Yeah, agreed. And it's always fun, especially with all the clones and all the online multiplayer games and the pay-to-play type paid service thing. It's a breath of fresh air to play something like, all right, so I'm doing this now, am I? And again, Capcom just seems knocking it out. I don't know why. I don't know what the special sauce is going on
something's
there.
happening at Capcom. Yeah. They're drinking some type of juice that I want to get.
Well, I think this is going to... the reviews aren't fully out yet, but I think this is going to be... I'd be amazed if people don't love this game. Granted, we
I'd be too. It, right?
No,
I'm fairly certain most people are gonna who think they're gonna like this game. Is going to like this. I think the reviews are gonna be in favor for Pragmata. I just, before we end the gameplay, I just really want to emphasize before it comes across wrong. We don't know if this really was or was not a tech demo. No, I'm already. Some of those comments were already typed. We were speculating that this was because it feels like one, and then they made a game around it. We could be completely wrong.
Yeah, yes, that's true. It's happened to us before. We are all knowledgeable.
What, being wrong?
Yeah, come on. You have, not me. I'm talking about you. I've never been wrong. I still say, to this day, I've not been wrong about a single game. But gameplay wise, it's all there. It's a wham bam, thank you ma'am type situation. It's got all the gusto. It's got everything you're looking for. I look forward to seeing the reviews up.
I think so too, and you kind of get the main gist of the core gameplay quite early on. The hacking, the shooting, the exploration. You can get that within the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, and again, it's got the same thing Resident Evil games has. There's lots of going back to the areas you've been to before, because now you have this unlocked and this unlocked, so you can explore more and
some
stuff like
Metroidvania elements.
No, exactly. Anything else gameplay wise, or should we jump to performance?
Right.
Performance. What did you think?
I think I had some generally solid frame rates. Most of my time playing this game, there weren't really any dips. I was playing this on a PS5 on performance mode, because I really need that 60 FPS more than I need ray tracing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right? I didn't have any major technical disasters. I did have one thing.
What?
Which isn't the game's fault. My controller has stick drift. My DualSense is quite a number of years old, and I've tried fixing it numerous times, but I've got stick drift. And Hugh just moves around whenever he wants. I'm not touching the controller, and Hugh's just exploring on his own.
Which would be really complicated when you're trying to hack, because if you haven't got line of sight, you can't hack, right? Yeah.
So that isn't the game's fault at all. But the game isn't giving me the accessibility or the adjustment options to turn down the stick sensitivity, which is a small gripe. I get it.
Sorry, it's not even a setting I think I've ever gone into. Do other games allow you to decrease stick sensitivity?
Some other games. And I think with how long stick drift has been around, I think games should give the option at least. Right? If I've got stick drift, but I can adjust the analog sensitivity so that it won't pick up in the game, The game is saved. I'm not throwing away my controller.
But remember, gaming now is a luxury thing for only elite and super rich people.
Yes, excuse me. It's a rich man's
spare
hobby.
Controller just ready for you to pick up and just unwrap and then play with that one.
Yes, because we're gaming. We must be rich.
Oh, yes. No, it's a luxury. People can't afford gaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I got you. But I had a slight frame drop, but it was only one of those instances when, on screen where everything just happens all at once, be it fire and then shooting and you're dodging and then being smacked at the same time. I had a couple dips in that, but that's fair. That's just normal fare. You can't make things perfect, especially with
that makes sense. 5. I mean, maybe there's a day one patch that's going to come around and fix some
of
these
apart
bugs.
from that, it worked fine. Like, it was pretty. Even loading times weren't insane in regards to changing areas and going back to your shelter or not. No, it was good. Okay, what did you think of value for money then?
Value for money. We've described this gameplay loop earlier in the podcast. If this gameplay loop is for you, you can unlock and upgrade abilities for you. You can upgrade weapons, buy different weapons, buy different methods of hacking, hacking skills. If you can kind of vibe with the gameplay loop that this game's going for, then yes, as always, this is going to be worth your money.
Yeah, agreed.
There isn't a one-size-fits-all game. Maybe GTA 6 is going to come close.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we
But I think, if you vibe with this gameplay loop, this game's going to be for you. There's some end game, some slight end game, really. I would just call that collecting all the collectibles and finishing the training sections.
That's right. If you like that type of thing, there was quite a lot that's fairly fleshed out. One thing that kind of fits your tech demo narrative is the game's not even that. Okay, it's $50. $50 is a lot of money, on pre-order and stuff. But compared to other games, that's new releases, that's kind of low. I thought that was a really good price point. That's. How much was Resident Evil Requiem? That wasn't more. That was more than $50, right?
I think that's a $60 game.
Yeah, 60 to 70. Again, this just comes out. Like I said, had a relatively rough development time and history and stuff like that, and then it comes out here at just $50, and it's good. It's hard to complain. Is it 100 hours? Is it the next Crimson Desert?
But it doesn't always have to be 100 hours.
That's right, but this is a genuinely well wrapped package. All the things you kind of look for. If sci-fi and strange stories and being a dad to a little android girl is your type of thing, then this has got everything in it for you. It really is kind of just ticking all the boxes, kind of knocking it out of the park and things.
I think a lot of people are getting really burnt out on just these massive games that take dozens, hundreds of hours to complete. And I say that, and Crimson Desert still sells gangbusters.
I know, it's doing great. It's doing really great, which again, that game seems to have a limited amount of playability to it. And this game is fundamentally coming out on every platform, even Switch 2, which is kind of
Day one.
I'm not sure Switch 2 day one, but on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation, it's day one, I believe, because I saw their prices are already up there. So yeah, it can be played on anything you want. It's hard not just to give it buy it. If it's your thing, buy it. Capcom also does specials later on down the road. They do often reduce the price of their games when it comes to a bit of time has passed. But it's hard not to say, for $50, it's a pretty fun narrative with all the bells and whistles of any combat space fare that you want.
Maybe not as stacked with extras like a lot of other games are.
And it's very hard because most people will instantly compare this to Dead Space. And granted, they are slightly two different genres. One's definitely far more horror-based than this one. But, you're a big Dead Space fan. If you liked Dead Space, would you recommend this game?
Oh, I think you're right. I don't think you can compare. I don't think you can
No, you can't.
I think if you like action-adventure type games.
Okay. Because Granted, I find Dead Space too scary, so I felt like I was putting my big boy boots on. I was like, I can play this game. I can probably play Dead Space. It sounds like, probably not. From your, they're not really the same.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you like your Batman Arkham City, if you like your Uncharted,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, those types of games where there's equal amounts of combat and exploration with some platforming.
No, I got you. So, all in all, what did we score this bad boy of a game?
Our scores for Pragmata were all peacefully working on a lunar station on the moon. I say working, but the AI robots did all the work. Then one day, all our scores just suddenly disappeared. They're all gone. Nobody knows where they went. They just disappeared without a trace. Except for one score. This score was conveniently a little girl with very well done hair. Was the letter grade rating of B-.
Which, again, I think the only real thing that was like the relationship and the narrative that kind of made that go below like an A. And again, your the game performance. But apart from that, that's a great score. It's a great game. It should be
a great
played.
score. I think anything in B territory
Yeah.
is a game that truly should be looked at. Even if it's not your type of game, this is something that you can just try or investigate.
That's right. And ladies and gents, you've got to remember that on our list, very few games have actually made it to the A level of tier of game. The games that are up there are fundamentally just just too many one-hit wonders. They're just too indescribable to...
Those scored games, those are generational type games. Your Red Dead Redemption 2s, your Chrono Triggers.
Yeah, your Elden Ring, right? They're
exactly, your God of War. Those are the types of games that achieve A-. I don't think an A+ game exists.
No, I don't. With our level, it would have to be just perfection in every single way, which again doesn't exist. So a B- game is a good game. It's a game people should play. People should not be letting this pass them by.
People should check out. It is a game people should kind of at least just respect.
Yes, I don't respect that game. Don't speak to me about that. I have no respect for it. Exactly. Okay, it is what it is. Like a B, not bad. I'd say go pick it up. Even if you're new to the genre or new to Capcom games, I'd say go give it a go.
Totally. And thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you would be so kind to push the button on your screen, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. You decide what you want to do, whether you do want to push the button or not. I'm not going to force you. Okay.
He is. In your dreams, he's going to be there. Push the button. Push the button. Push the button.
Push the button.
Push the button. Yeah, go on.
No. Rather, I'm going to ask Dave. Dave, where can we follow you?
Well, you can find me out and about, but playing this game, I became buddy with Idus, the big old AI thing, and he shared with me his 3D printing capabilities. And so I was playing around, printing out some like humanoid type people and implanting them with some data to process and slowly blend into society. And so now I've managed to put multiple sleeper agents in every country of the world, just waiting there ready for me to pull the trigger. So if you do come and find me, I will release the special word, I will put the special code out there, and anarchy will reign from the skies as my droid army take over the planet.
Dave!
Yeah, right?
How'd you get this far? You were just talking about printing with lunar filament.
Oh yeah, Idus. He's just a bad influence. He just gave me such grand ideas. Yeah. So by all means, if you want to end the world fundamentally in a robot apocalypse, find me.
Okay, I trust I don't need to say this. Don't follow Dave.
Yeah, don't follow Dave.
Come on. Rather, Dave, what have we got lined up for next week?
Next week we've got. Would you describe this as an indie game or AA game or an A game?
We double A. We go with
double A
A.
game. We got our hands on. I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Cthulhu? Cthulhu? The Cosmic Abyss. I'm guessing it's got to be some sort of horror game. Taking into account Cthulhu is monstrous.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, look forward to grabbing that. So straight from sci-fi to
cosmic horror. Get your Lovecraft on.
Yeah, that's right. We are jumping from genres today. This time around. So yeah, listen next week.
We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.